Good evening and welcome to our children's story time this evening. This evening I want to share with you again from our Hebrew scriptures the story of David. So many of you may be aware of David. You've heard of David and the Goliath and all those things. But this is the story of David when he was first being anointed. So once again we're going to read from our Whirl Kids Story Bible. And I will share the pictures with you as long as I remember as we go along. So, Jesse's oldest son towered over Samuel. This son could lift a sheep with one hand. His legs looked like tree trunks. This must be the king, Samuel thought. God had sent Samuel to anoint the new king of Israel. But God surprised Samuel. So Samuel was one of the prophets that was called by God to find this new king that would lead the people of Israel. And he goes to Jesse and all of the sons that Jesse has and goes through almost the whole line of them to determine who is going to be the next king of Israel. So sharing the pictures, they said something about how there's Samuel and his first son that just towered over Samuel. So yeah, that must be the king, right? And then there's all the other, all the sons are standing and they're talking. So, but as we said, God surprised Samuel. So have you ever been at a point in your life where maybe you thought that you were surprised that God has surprised you? Maybe you were expecting one thing and totally got another thing. And sometimes we never know when that's going to happen. So, as God surprises Samuel, he hears the Lord telling him, no, not that one. So Jesse's second son stepped forward. He could throw a spear farther than Samuel had ever seen. So, thinking, surely this must be the one. Not that one, the Lord answered him again. The third son puffed out his chest. He could wrestle his older brothers and win. No, not him either, the Lord said firmly to Samuel. You're looking on the outside. I'm looking on the inside. So, as we think about, as we look at people, we see people that are really tall. We must think, oh, they're really good at playing basketball, right? Or, and may not even play basketball. Or maybe somebody that's really fast and think that, they can go out and run a sprint and win, but maybe they've never ran track or anything. Where we look on the outside, those outside appearances, but what God tells Samuel he's looking for is what's inside. What's inside the person's heart? Where is their faith guiding them? What do they believe? So it's the heart that God is looking for. So Samuel looked at 4 more sons, and 4 more times the Lord said, no. Then Samuel asked Jesse, have I met all of your sons? Because surely I still have not heard from the Lord yet that this is the next king of Israel. Jesse hesitated. You want to see the youngest? He's out with the sheep. Please call him, Samuel requested. David, Jesse yelled. A red-cheeked little shepherd boy with bright, clear eyes rushed toward them. Could this boy be the king? Samuel wondered. Yes, breathed God. This is the one. He will be the next king over Israel. Samuel cleared his throat. The Lord chooses David. David's brothers all spoke at once. Little David? A king? I can't believe it. Samuel prayed. He anointed David's head with oil. The Lord would make David into a great king. So once again, there's David out with the sheep, and he hears his father calling him in. So there's David in front of Samuel. And where the other son towered above Samuel, you see that David's shorter there in that picture. But then he anoints David with oil. So that's the thing that we do to mark you with Christ. So at one point, if you were baptized, you were most likely anointed with oil as well. We did not pour it out onto your head. At least not in the Lutheran Church we don't. Some other traditions may. But I have a little thing of oil that I'll take it and I'll mark it on your forehead. Then you're marked with the cross of Christ, reminding you that you are a child of God. And so in a way, that is what Samuel is doing. He's marking David to know that he's going to be the next king of Israel. So as we look for those little things that maybe where God might surprise us, let us be aware of those. Let us pay attention to what is happening around us, because maybe in those little things, God is calling to us. So as we prepare to depart for the evening, can we put our hands together and bow our heads and do a repeat after me prayer? Dear God, thank you for surprising us in good ways. Amen. Have a good evening, and I will see you next week.